I'd like to call the August 19th Board of Commissioners meeting to order. First item on the agenda is invocation by our County Manager, Mr. David Cotton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come before you and conduct the business of Onslow County. Please bless all those who have gathered here this evening. Lord, be with the commissioners tonight in their deliberation and grant them wisdom and guidance as they address the items on tonight's agenda. Tonight, as we recognize retirees for their faithful service and contributions to the citizens of Onslow County, we ask that you give them direction and wisdom as they enter the next phase of their lives. Father, we pray for the men and women in our armed forces who serve our country with tremendous courage, commitment, and sacrifice. May all we do this day bring you honor and glory. We will continue to thank you and praise you for the blessings you have bestowed upon us. Now, with deep respect and reverence for the faiths, beliefs, and traditions of those gathered here today, hear us in a moment of silence. Amen. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Our pledge by Deputy County Manager, Ms. Sharon Russell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We ask that all in attendance please set your cell phone to silent or vibrate mode. The board offers the public 2 opportunities to speak during the meeting. Comments during the first public comment period should be limited to 3 minutes each and must be directly issue-oriented with the agenda items for this particular meeting. The second public comment period is at the end of the meeting and may be on any issue upon which the Board of Commissioners has control over. During the second public comment period, citizens can address the board for up to 5 minutes each. Citizen speakers will be acknowledged in the order in which they signed up to speak and will address all comments to the board as a whole and not to one individual commissioner. Speakers will address the board from the speaker's podium at the front of the room and will begin their remarks by stating their name and their address. Discussions between speakers and members of the audience will not be allowed. Public comment is not intended to require the board to answer any impromptu questions. Speakers are expected to be civil in their language and presentation. Any comments where the primary purpose is to promote a business or a candidacy shall not be allowed. In accordance with the board's adopted rules and procedures, commissioners shall reserve responses, if any, for the commissioner comment period on the agenda. With no other items.
Chair,
Separate.
make a motion to replace the school resource officer agreement item 5E with an amended version to include section G9.
Okay.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to amend the agenda. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye. Approve the agenda as amended.
Need a motion
Second.
and second. All in favor of the motion and the second signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Items on the consent agenda. Is there any item on the consent agenda that any member would like to have removed and placed at the end of the meeting for further discussion or questions? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 3 is the first section of comments from the citizens on any items that's on the agenda. Ms. Cotton, do we have anyone signed up?
No, sir.
Okay, next item 4 is presentations, and I will turn that over to you, Mr. Cotton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, I will read the proclamation into the record. State of North Carolina, County of Onslow Proclamation, National Library Card Sign-Up Month, September 2019. Whereas signing up for a library card is the first step towards academic achievement and lifelong learning, and whereas libraries play an important role in the education and development of children, and library programs serve students of all ages from early literacy to homework help to GED classes. And whereas librarians lead the way in creating inclusive spaces and developing diverse collections for children and people of all backgrounds to connect and learn together. And whereas libraries bridge the digital divide by providing a full range of information and services to children and adult learners. And whereas libraries open a world of infinite possibilities through resources and services to help people pursue their passions and give students the tools to succeed in school and beyond. And whereas over 60,000 residents of Onslow County have library cards and more than 365,000 people visit our public library locations annually, now therefore be it proclaimed that the Onslow County Board of Commissioners proclaim September as National Library Card Sign-Up Month in Onslow County, North Carolina, and encourage all citizens to sign up for their own library card today. Chairman has requested that Commissioner Shanahan present the proclamation. Ms. Virginia March, Library Director, and her staff will accept it.
So as one of 4 children growing up who were homeschooled, the library was an incredibly important resource in our lives growing up. It gave us a change of scenery for what we were doing. It also gave us an outlet for creativity and to use our imagination. And it gave, I think, my mom a couple of hours of a much-needed break. The Onslow County libraries today have continued to evolve, and they do so much for all of us. Their offerings have expanded greatly over the recent years. It's now possible really to bring the library into your smartphone and access so many resources. So they do a lot of great work for us. I encourage everybody, if you've not been recently, to get out to the facility or go to the website and see what's on offer. And so thank you guys for all that you do.
Thank you, Commissioner Shanahan and the Board of Commissioners for recognizing the importance of having a library card. You can see I've brought some of my staff and patrons here who also see the importance of having a library card. We have resources and tools to help people pursue their passions and also for the students to have academic success. And in September, we're going to start rolling out new library cards for both current patrons and those who have been thinking about getting a library card. So we have some facsimiles here of those library cards, and we encourage everyone to come out, get your library card, and as Commissioner Shanahan said, once you have that library card, you don't always have to come to the library. We can come into your home through the internet. Thank you.
The next proclamation is Child Support Awareness Month. State of North Carolina, County of Onslow, proclamation, Child Support Awareness Month 2019. Whereas Onslow County recognizes August as Child Support Awareness Month and reaffirms its commitment to strengthening Onslow County families by providing child support services to improve the economic stability and well-being of children. And whereas in state fiscal year 2018-2019, more than $21 million in child support was collected from parents of Onslow County's children. And whereas there are nearly 8,000 child support orders in place, working to ensure that more than 9,700 children receive financial support from their parents. And whereas Child Support Awareness Month salutes the diligent working parents who spend time with their children and who make regular child support payments to safeguard their children's future. And whereas strengthening individuals and families promotes the safety and well-being of children, provides stability, improves the lives of children, and provides opportunities for families to be able to enhance their children's future. And whereas children who do not receive adequate financial and emotional support from their parents may experience greater difficulty in becoming healthy, happy, and productive citizens. And whereas many concerned and dedicated judges, district attorneys, clerks of court, sheriff's personnel, and child support professionals work to establish and enforce child support orders for Onslow County children, one of our county's most vital resources. Now therefore be it proclaimed, the Onslow County Board of Commissioners do hereby acknowledge August 2019 as Child Support Awareness Month in Onslow County and commend its observance to all citizens. Chairman requests that Commissioner Robin Knapp present the proclamation. Our child support enforcement representatives will accept.
Shanahan forgot to lower the mic. Thanks, bud. I just want to say that, child support is extremely important. As far as I'm concerned, any person that has a child, I can't fathom them not supporting their child, whether they're, still married to the individual or not. To me, it's a problem in the United States, as you can see by the numbers that they discussed. That's your blood, that's your child, whether you're male or female, and whether who's at fault or who has to provide the support. They need to provide the support. And I think our county is aggressively pursuing that to make sure that our children get the funds that are adequately needed for them, because it's tough growing up with one parent. But it's even tougher when one parent doesn't provide the child support, because it just teaches that child that parent doesn't love them enough to be responsible enough to fund them and to help them throughout their lives. So even though we're honoring August as the month, we should always think about this every month and do everything that we can to make sure that the support for the children is obtained, because it's much needed. And I salute the workers that do this. I salute the Sheriff's Department, the Police Department, all those agencies involved to ensure that this comes to fruition. And my hat's off to you guys, because I know you guys got a hard job, a thankless job. But I just want to say thank you and congratulations for everything that you do.
Thank you, Commissioners, for recognizing this month as Child Support Awareness Month. Onslow County Department of Social Services has contracted with Young Williams for the past 5 years to provide child support services to our community, and we have been thrilled with the outcomes that they have received for the children of Onslow County.
Thank you. Now, part of the commissioner meetings I really enjoy and like doing is recognizing our employees. Mr. Cotton, will you have our human resources person come up, and we'll join them down here, I guess?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will call on Ms. Janelle Galloway, our HR Director, to come up and introduce this next agenda item. And yes, I was going to say, as she's approaching the podium, if the commissioners wouldn't mind taking your places.
Good evening. The Onslow County Board of Commissioners are proud of the contributions made to the community by our county employees. Recently, several employees have chosen to retire from employment with the county, and the Onslow County Board of Commissioners will honor each retired employee for their excellent service. Each retiree this evening will be presented with a special award from the Office of the Governor, Roy Cooper, as well as a certificate of appreciation from Onslow County government. We have 3 different awards from the governor being given tonight. The first is the Order of the Longleaf Pine, which is the highest award for state service granted by the Office of the Governor and is for individuals retiring with 30 years of service or more. We also have the Old North State Award, which is for individuals with 20 or more years of service. And the third is the Certificate of Appreciation, which is granted to recognize the efforts of an individual, an organization, or a business. And nominations are submitted for those who have contributed outstanding public service in the state of North Carolina. As we call each retiree's name, we ask that the retiree come forward to the front of the room with any family members that are joining you this evening. We also encourage the employee's department head to join the retiree as well. Following the presentation of the awards, each retiree is invited to make a statement to the public if they desire to do that. Our first retiree this evening is Miss Vicki Sneed. She was an accounting technician with Onslow County Senior Services and is honored for her 17 years of loyal service. Ms. Sneed retired March 1st and is receiving the Onslow County Certificate of Appreciation and the North Carolina Certificate of Appreciation. Next, we have Robin Grantham, social worker with Onslow County Social Services, and we're honoring her for her 18 years of service. Ms. Grantham retired April 1st and is receiving an Onslow County Certificate of Appreciation and the North Carolina Certificate of Appreciation. Next, we have Wanda Parker, detention officer with the Onslow County Sheriff's Office, and we're honoring her tonight for her 20 years of loyal service. Ms. Parker retired June 1st, 2019, and is receiving an Onslow County Certificate of Appreciation, the North Carolina Certificate of Appreciation, and a Retiree Appreciation Plaque.
Thank you for your service.
Next, we have Cindy Lacey, housekeeper with Onslow County Asset and Facility Management. We're honoring her for 23 years of loyal service. Ms. Lacey retired May 1st and is receiving an Onslow County Certificate of Appreciation, the Old North State Award, and a Retiree Appreciation Plaque.
Appreciate your service. Thank you for your time.
Next, we have Donald Wuerl, Colonel with the Onslow County Sheriff's Office, and we're honoring him tonight for over 26 years of loyal service. Mr. Wuerl retired January 1st and is receiving an Onslow County Certificate of Appreciation, the Longleaf Pine Award, and a Retiree Appreciation Plaque.
This is the Longleaf Pine. We're able to obtain that, and congratulations. That's not something you get really lightly. Appreciate your service too. Thanks. Appreciate your excellent service. Appreciate you putting up with us.
Next, we have Heidi Bauer, Social Services Director with Onslow County Social Services, is being honored for her 26 years of loyal service to the county. Ms. Bauer retired April 1st and is receiving the Onslow County Certificate of Appreciation, the Old North State Award, and a Retiree Appreciation Plaque.
North State Award.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate your time and your service.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I just wanted to break tradition. Nobody else wanted to speak, but I have an opportunity to speak. It was a real honor to work for Onslow County for all this time and to serve the families and to serve the management and to do all the work that we did. And I do want to say that Onslow County is a great place to live and a great place to raise your kids. So everybody stay and chip in and do your best. Thank you.
Our next retiree is Ms. Karen Moore, librarian with Onslow County Public Libraries, and she's being honored for her 27 years of loyal service. Ms. Moore retired May 1st and is receiving an Onslow County Certificate of Appreciation, the Old North State Award, and a Retiree Appreciation Plaque.
Thank you for your service. Sorry to see you go.
Our next retiree is Jerry Morse, captain with the Onslow County Sheriff's Office. Mr. Morse is being honored for his 27 years of loyal service, and he retired on October 1st of 2018. He's receiving an Onslow County Certificate of Appreciation, the Longleaf Pine Award, and a Retiree Appreciation Plaque.
Jerry also received the Order of the Longleaf Pine from the Governor's Office. Quite an accomplishment. Thank you. Thank you for your service. 27 years. We don't want you getting a rocking chair now.
Well, Mr. Buchanan, make sure that ain't happening. He's got me working right now.
The reason he's dressed like this, he's teaching at the range right now for us at college.
Yes, I would dress better.
Our next retiree is James Taylor, paramedic with Onslow County Emergency Service. Tonight, he's being honored for 29 years of loyal service. Mr. Taylor retired May 1st, 2019, and is receiving an Onslow County Certificate of Appreciation, the Old North State Award, and will be receiving a Retiree Appreciation Plaque.
Don't seem that long, does it? Thank you, sir. Thank you for your service. Thank you for letting us serve. Thank you for putting up with us.
Our next retiree is Scott Kerouac, paramedic with Onslow County Emergency Services. Tonight, he's honored for 30 years of loyal service. Mr. Kerouac retired March 1st, 2019, and is receiving an Onslow County Certificate of Appreciation, the Old North State Award, and a Retiree Appreciation Clock.
And Old North State Award. Thank you for your service. We appreciate it.
Next, we have Robert Buckner, social worker with Onslow County Social Services, is being honored for 31 years of loyal service. Mr. Buckner retired March 1st, 2019, and is receiving the Onslow County Certificate of Appreciation, the Old North State Award, and a Retiree Appreciation Clock.
Thank you, sir.
And lastly, Gloria Joles, Administrative Assistant for the Onslow County Sheriff's Office, is honored for her 32 years of loyal service. Ms. Joles' family members will be accepting an Onslow County Certificate of Appreciation, the Old North State Award, and a Retiree Appreciation Clock on her behalf this evening.
I want to say that Gloria worked at the sheriff's department for 32 years, and she was a very loyal employee. And I had been in many a time and talked to Sheriff Brown or talked to Sheriff Miller, and she was always pleasant. I never heard her complain about anything. She was always just one of the nicest people that she ever wanted to meet. But she, after she retired, shortly after she retired, she passed away, and that's why her family's here tonight. And we loved her dearly, and we're going to miss her, and I know you will. So these are the tokens of appreciation, nowhere near what she really worked for her whole life, but anyway, she didn't get a chance to retire much. But anyway, we would hope you could have this as a memory for her. And the certificate and order of the long leaf pine, which is an honor. Everybody, you She's looking down on you right now. The folks that retired that we just given the certificates for worked for Onslow County a combination of over 300 years. So we had 300 years of experience that just retired now and left office. So my hat's off to you. Congratulations to all of you and to the families for being here. At this time, I'd like to take a short recess to allow the families that want to go home or not stay for the meeting, but you're sure welcome to stay, but take a short recess and we'll be back in about 10 minutes. I'd like to call the meeting back to order. Thank you for your indulgence. Did you want to speak?
A lot of the people have left and the retirees, but I just wanted to say thank you to all of them. And it's funny, I retired in 2012, and some of the people that retired, they were the first people that I ever met in 1990 when I got here from being overseas. For example, Wuerl was probably one of the first people I met in the sheriff's office, and we became fast friends, and we've been fast friends and close friends ever since then, and he's just been a go-to guy. And Miss Lacey, who retired, her daughter ended up marrying one of my closest friends who was in my wedding, Mike Capps, who we call him Biscuit, and he worked narcotics in JPD, and we attended the same church. So it's a small world, and it makes you think when you have all these people that have put all this time into a particular service, how quickly it goes by. And you really need to commend them because they've given their life, most of their adult life, to the job that they pursued, and so my congratulations to them. I am going to miss most of the people that have left, and it's kind of heart-wrenching because as they leave and they retire, you know you're just getting older as well. So that doesn't do good for my ego, but I just want to wish them the best. Thank you.
Okay, item 5, 800 megahertz radio system. I believe that's Norm Bryson, our Emergency Management Director.
Good evening, Chairman, Vice Chair, and Commissioners. The item that you have tonight is a one-year maintenance and service agreement with Motorola Solutions, Inc. It's to provide coverage for 24/7 network monitoring, technical response, and infrastructure repair on our countywide 800 megahertz system. This includes our 2 core sites and our 5 tower sites. The price of the service agreement is $369,728.54. We're respectfully requesting that the Board of Commissioners consider the approval of the maintenance service agreement with Motorola Solutions, Inc. in the amount of $369,728.54, and if approved, authorize the chairman to sign on behalf of the county.
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second. This is in our budget, isn't it?
Yes, sir. This was budgeted for in our normal budget ordinance.
Any discussion? We have a motion and a second. Without any discussion, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Engagement letter, that'll be Mr. Dave McCole, our Finance Director.
Good evening, Board of Commissioners. The item we have before you is an engagement letter with Elliott Davis to perform an audit on the Medicaid program, the Temporary Assistance to Needy Families Program, better known as TANF, and the Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for Women, Infants, and Children, better known as WIC. The audit will be for the fiscal year June 30th, 2019 timeframe, year end. The state has required all counties to contract with an accounting firm to complete an audit of these programs. The audit of these programs the state will benefit from the audit of these programs, and they'll be taking credit for it. The amount for the fee to perform these audits is $26,115. And with that said, I respectfully ask that you consider approval of the engagement letter with Elliott Davis and authorize the chairman to sign the engagement letter on behalf of the county.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any questions for Mr. McCole? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. McCole. Home and Community Care Block Grant. That's Mr. Calhoun.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, and Commissioners. The item before you tonight for your consideration and approval is a revision to the previously approved Home and Community Care Block Grant. Throughout the county budget year, revisions may occur to the state-approved grants. In this instance, the previously approved grant is $540 less than the county budget amount for fiscal year 1920. The required local match has been met with budget appropriations, therefore no additional monies are required. It is respectfully requested that the board consider approval of the contract to the Area Agency on Aging, Eastern Carolina Council, and authorize the chairman of the board to execute the contract documents.
A motion?
Motion approved.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir. Power line relocation easement. Ms. Melissa Moore, our Solid Waste Director.
Good evening, Chairman Bright, Vice Chairman Bennett, Commissioners, and Mr. Cotton. It is my pleasure to come to you this evening with the easement request. The Onslow County Expansion Plan develops the landfill in phases to accommodate the disposal needs of our citizens. The next phase of expansion will begin within the next 2 to 3 months. The early stages of this project involve planning, permitting, and infrastructure changes. This expansion will require our power lines to be relocated within the landfill complex. To accomplish this task, the county must grant Duke Energy an easement for the new location of power lines before the relocation process can begin. The documents have been compiled and are ready for your approval. It is respectfully requested that the board consider granting the easement to Duke Energy, and if approved, the board authorizes the chairman to sign the easement documents. If you have any questions, I will be glad to answer them.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion, second. Do you hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Got any questions for Ms. Moore? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
School Resource Officer under Section E, contract. And this is the one we had an amendment on. Do we need to read the amendment? I mean, the paragraph?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is a continuing effort to keep our schools, middle schools and our high schools safe in the county. As you know, we staff with SROs all the schools that are not inside the city of Jacksonville. And we do that by having trained law enforcement officers to protect the people that are in it, students, the staff, teachers, the administrative staff, and also the infrastructure from anything, any crime, but also to set the example for our young people. Because I think that's something that's really necessary in today's society, for law enforcement to set the example and let people know. We have entered into an agreement with the Board of Education to continue this contract, we provide school resource officers in all middle schools and high schools outside the city of Jacksonville. The contract is well written. It has been actually checked by our county attorney. There are no policy differences, so it basically is a continuing effort that we've been doing in the past. Respectfully request that the Board of Commissioners approve myself and the Board of Education to sign this contract on behalf of our county.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Do we need to read that paragraph into the record? Mr. Cotton, will you read that paragraph that changed?
Yes,
What
sir.
was added to it? And that's what the amended agenda was for.
It's a reasonable addition.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. It is item number 9, and it reads, SROs will understand that enforcing school policies not involving criminal conduct are the responsibilities of the school administration and school employees. SROs may be present for security reasons, but should not actively enforce school policies not criminal in nature. That's the extent.
Did we get a second on your motion? Yeah. Sheriff, this grant with the high school SROs and middle school, do you know how long that's been?
Well, this is a continuing.
No, but do you know how long it's been in place?
It's been in place even when my predecessor was in office, because we had school resource officers. So this is totally different from the grant that the board just approved last BOC meeting when it came to the 7 additional SROs in the elementary schools. So this is totally different. It's a different contract, and it's a continuance of what we've done in the past.
I understand. Any further questions for the Sheriff?
It's over 20 years that the SR
In
program
place.
has been going in place with Onslow County.
Thank you. Any other questions, any other comments? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Sheriff.
Thanks, sir.
Memorandum of agreement with Hurricane Florence, Mr. Ben Warren.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chairman, and Commissioners. For your consideration this evening, we have a memorandum of understanding that's related to the 2018 Hurricane Florence Disaster Recovery Act. The funding itself is in the amount of $2 million for Onslow County to assist homeowners who may need assistance with repair or housing rehabilitation, elevation of structures, homeowner or housing buyouts, or other similar programs. And the primary intent of the grant was to assist either elderly or disabled or low-income populations, those who may have been underinsured, those who may not have carried flood insurance or had the means to repair the structures that were damaged by the hurricane. And so with the grant, we're able to reach out to the community to identify some of these individuals. Some may have applied for other types of federal assistance or other programs that we had in place but were not qualified. So this is another means for us to be able to help some of these that were affected by Hurricane Florence. So the requested action this evening is that the Board of Commissioners consider approval of the Memorandum of Agreement, and if approved, authorize the chairman to sign on behalf of the county. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Motion to approve.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Once the grant's been in place, where does the person apply for relief for this that's available, that makes this available to them?
They would need to come see the Onslow County Planning and Development Department. They will be the ones to administer the grant for the
On a
county.
first come, first served basis, or?
Yes, sir, it is.
Do we have many applicants that's already in the hopper for help with that in these areas?
We have, I believe it's 2 remaining from an initial round of grant funding. They applied but were not eligible, and then we've had 1 more come forward from the town of Swansboro. So right now we know of 3, but there would be additional monies available for others who may be interested.
So would there be money available under this grant to people who didn't qualify the first time? Is that what you just said?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I got a quick question. I think it's great. It's free money. It's $2 million of free money. That's no matching. I mean, that's a gift. I get that. But is there any plans or any possibility of additional funds being made available in the future with other additional grants? Because I look at the $2 million figure and I think about all the families that still needs repair. I have a feeling that $2 million is going to go pretty quick.
Yes, sir.
So I don't know if there's any additional revenue stream that's going to be coming in as far as the grant's concerned. Do you know that, or?
As part of this Hurricane Florence Disaster Recovery Act, I'm not sure, but we're continually seeing different sources of funds become available, and so we're continuing to look to see what might be available to assist our citizens.
How are we advertising this? Do we just have it available? Do we put it out somewhere for people to know about it?
We have not started the advertisement process first, but if the board approves the memorandum of agreement, then we'll begin with that campaign to advertise and try to identify those who may need assistance.
Yeah, it's just make that go pretty quick.
Mr. Warren, will the planning department prioritize the taking over here? Who's first? Who has first priority, and what's next? What project may be next? That kind of thing.
Yes, sir. What we would typically do is establish an application submittal timeline. And as we receive those, if we'll go through, we have a scoring system that we'll use to prioritize the applications, and hopefully we'll have enough money to go around to fund all of those. But if not, we do have a scoring sheet that we use to prioritize.
How long would it take to normally qualify, to make sure the person qualifies?
It's a very quick process.
Okay.
When you do the advertisement, are you going to list the qualifications, what parameters they need to meet to qualify for the funds, or?
We would list the very basic requirements, yes, sir. There's some income thresholds and other things that we would list. And then, like I said, we have a scoring sheet. I don't know that we necessarily list all the qualifications, but we would list the basic qualifications to ensure that anyone who does go through the process is qualified up front.
And this grant can be used for repairs or like mitigation, buying out people in floodplain areas.
Yes, sir. It can be reconstruction, rehabilitation, or buyouts or elevations.
Okay.
It's a good plan. I'd like to see more of that.
A lot of need.
Had a lot of, yeah, exactly. Okay, any further for Mr. Warren? All in favor of the motion? We do have a motion, don't we?
Yeah.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, Mr. Warren. Onslow County Planning Board.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. The Planning Board consists of 7 members, 1 appointment from each of the 5 townships. Then there is a position or a seat recommended by the developers, and an additional seat recommended by 1 or more of the environmental groups. This evening, this concerns a township appointment. Mr. Jack Sides, currently representing Stump Sound. His term expired July 31st of 2019. He is willing to serve in the Stump Sound Township category. He has submitted a citizen participation application. No other individuals have expressed an interest, and the application is on file and has been certified by the clerk's office. It's respectfully requested that the commissioners consider the reappointment of Mr. Jack Sides for the Stump Sound Township category for a 3-year term expiring July 31st of 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of appointing Mr. Sides signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Aye. Motion carries. Onslow County Hospital Authority, we have ballots. We're going to do one ballot at a time. You're going to collect one at a time.
If you prefer, I could take all 4 and tally those.
Okay. This is for the appointments or reappointments of Onslow Memorial Hospital Authority. We're doing it by ballot, and all these ballots are open for public review. It's easier to do a ballot than it is to sit here and random over who voted for what. Sheriff, I forgot to recognize you at the start of the meeting. Thank you for being here, Sheriff Hans Miller. Sometimes we get a lot on our plate up here. And I'd like to recognize Dr. Penny Burlingame Deal from Onslow Memorial Hospital and Pat Alford, one of the hospital authority members. Do you have any more members here? Oh, Dr. Johnson. Thank you. Dr. Johnson is chairman of the hospital authority. Thank you for being here. Had some good news from her earlier too while we're waiting on the ballots. Hospital looking good for this month. That's a really good report. Me too.
Just kidding. Do it. Over there. Okay, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, audience, thank you for your patience. Following the meeting, the ballots are available for public inspection. So tonight, the Onslow County Hospital Authority, at its regular meeting, July 25th, 2019, voted unanimously to forward a slate of nominees for the Commissioner's consideration. For seat 3, the incumbent was Dr. George Thomas. For seat 4, it was Charles Gibbs, who is not an incumbent. Seat 8 is Dr. Carol Johnston, incumbent. And seat 9, Julia Collins, who is an incumbent. An alternate pursuant to Section 7 of the joint resolution was Mr. Curtis Hildit, Jr. So for seat 3, the Commissioners have selected Dr. Thomas. For seat 4, the Commissioners have selected Charles Gibbs. For seat 8, the Commissioners have selected Dr. Johnston. And for seat 9, the Commissioners have selected Mr. Hildit. It is respectfully requested that the Commissioners appoint the individuals for seats 3, 4, 8, and 9 for 3-year terms expiring September 30th of 2022, and by vote, those are the individuals you have selected. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on to item 7, the consent agenda. We had nothing moved to the consent agenda. Item 8 is public comment section. And I'll turn that over to you, Mr. Cotton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 3 individuals who have signed up for the second public comment period. As a reminder, this is the second public comment period, and in accordance with the board's adopted rules of procedures, the Commissioner shall reserve responses, if any, for the Commissioner comment period on the agenda. Comments may be on any issue upon which the Board of Commissioners has control. During the second public comment period, citizens can address the board for up to 5 minutes each. The first person who has signed up is Mr. Larry Baldwin, 803 Maynard Boulevard, Jacksonville.
Good evening, Commissioners. Probably no secret why I'm here. Larry Baldwin. I'm the Executive Director for the White Oak New Riverkeeper Alliance. Back again this evening to encourage the Commissioners to adopt a resolution opposing seismic testing and offshore drilling. There are only 2 counties right now in North Carolina who have not adopted resolutions opposing seismic testing and offshore drilling. To my knowledge, there are no other counties along the Atlantic coast who have not adopted resolutions opposing seismic testing and offshore drilling. I again offer to come back at some time and present more information as we see it as to the dangers of seismic testing and offshore drilling, so that you can better understand our side of it, if you don't already understand our side, the dangers that are presented by these two activities are something that we just cannot take the chance. The coast of Onslow County is too important, it's too beautiful to go and run the risk of what can happen from seismic testing and offshore drilling. The first of those two things to happen, as you probably know, is the seismic testing. And to be honest with you, that's the one that scares me the most. Because if it is allowed to happen, it can have the most imminent destruction to our aquatic life almost as immediately as they start testing. And that seismic testing involves explosions in the water hundreds of times louder than anything else that's already there. And the destruction has been proven scientifically. It will happen off of our coast if this seismic testing starts. We could have as many as 5 different companies operating 5 ships, towing an array of air guns, blasting every 10 seconds, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days of the year. It has been scientifically proven that it's going to disrupt not just the whales and the dolphins, which we hear about most often, because they're mammals and they hear similar to the way we do. It has been proven that the krill, which is the smallest aquatic life out there, that so many others depend on, within several kilometers are gone. We're going to do this blasting month after month after month to try to see if there's even anything down there to be explored. Once those determinations have been made, then we start the drilling. And I don't think I need to remind anybody what we've seen happening on the Gulf of Mexico. I have several waterkeeper friends down there who are dealing with this almost daily. And the destruction has been pretty significant. So I would like to continue to encourage you to request that you reconsider and adopt a resolution opposing both seismic testing and offshore drilling. And I know that the comment was made last time I was here about kind of waiting to see what Senator Tillis is going to do. I would encourage you not to wait for that, because I'm not sure Senator Tillis knows what he wants to do, to be quite honest with you. And I won't bring politics into this, but that's I've got my feelings as to why that's happening. So I will leave you with that again, not going away. So I may be back numerous times, but again, I would really appreciate the opportunity to sit down and talk with one or all of you about why this is so destructive. I can bring in other experts who can also verify what will happen if we allow this seismic testing and offshore drilling to occur. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thank you for your time, and I hope we can get to a point where we can raise our hand and say we're opposing this as well. Thank you, gentlemen.
The next person who has signed up is Miss Sonia Preston, 261A White Oak Bluff Road, Stella.
Are you with an organization, ma'am? Are you with Mr. Baldwin's group?
Sierra Club. Sierra Club.
Are you still with that group or? Different club, okay.
Can't support all of them at once. If I was rich, I'd like to. Well, dear commissioners, a few words on land use planning. I'm thinking maybe we need to rethink rebuilding in the flood-prone areas, or maybe even revamp them. It's disheartening to see people get flooded out of their homes over and over, especially on the beach. It's just a waste of money and time, and it affects people mentally. And when developing communities, maybe we need to work with Mother Nature instead of against her. You know, when they plan the drainage, we need to go with the natural flow. And we are asking Commissioners, we urge you to adopt a resolution to oppose seismic blasting and offshore drilling. Why? Because it's very detrimental to whales and other wildlife. There's no guarantee there won't be oil spills. It will ruin our coast, tourism. North Carolina coast depends on tourism. It's our economy. I don't believe we need to harm our wildlife and environment to make progress. Besides, we want to head towards clean energy. And what do we want to leave behind to our grandchildren? Something we're ashamed of or something we're proud of? Please consider this. Thank you for this opportunity.
The last person who has signed up, apologize, I don't even know how to approach pronouncing your last name. Bill, 200 Dawn Court. Okay.
What group are you with, sir?
I'm with myself, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm just representing.
Are you here to speak on what?
Well, I'm here to speak about the fracking, et cetera.
Not going to allow it, sir.
Oh, sorry.
We've already heard from those folks about that. Not going to allow it, sir.
I'm sorry?
You're out of order.
Oh, I'm speaking to the.
You're out of order, sir. I'm not going to allow it.
In other words, sir, you need to step away from the podium.
You're not going to allow what?
I'm not going to allow you to speak, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Anybody else? Okay, we'll move on to manager's comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, really quick. Today marks the 4th anniversary of the opening of the passenger terminal at OAJ. July of 2019 turned out to be our busy passenger traffic month within the past 5 years. Also want to mention that we're going to have our disaster ready team training next Tuesday. Hopefully it'll just be a training where we walk through the exercises and we don't have to engage the EOC this hurricane season. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we'll move on to commissioner comments. Commissioner Buchanan.
Thank you, sir. I want to thank all of our people that retired. I know I'm like Robin Knapp down there talking about Donnie Wuerl and Jerry Morris. They both came through my BLT program. I used to be the actual school director for that program, so Jerry retired 30 years ago from my school. So it tells you that I've been around this business a long time, but I want to congratulate all of our retirees, but 2 of them came through my program years ago. Thank you.
Commissioner Foster.
I, too, thank the retirees for their dedication and service to Onslow County. Also, the proclamations we had tonight, the libraries and the library cards. Having been here all my life, 2 things always pulled down the road. One was the ice cream truck and one was the bookmobile. And, you always want to get on the bookmobile because that rascal was air conditioned in the middle of August and your parents made you stay outside back then. So I don't know if it was much reading as it was AC. But I know how important reading is for the foundation of education and the future of our kids. So the fact that we are encouraging the library card and signing up for that is we need to get into more paper books and maybe a little less technology out there, maybe more well-rounded individuals. Child support, I appreciate what you said, Commissioner Knapp. Being a parent, that's a lifetime commitment.
That's right.
And we got to stick to that as the family network is extremely important. Speaking of teamwork, Mr. Myers is here tonight, and Commissioner Price, myself, and the chairman were at the ribbon cutting for the Eastern North Carolina Regional Skills Center. A couple of weeks ago, we had the grant approval with the SROs, so the fact that you're seeing a lot of things of teamwork in Onslow County. I think that needs to be noted of what we're trying to do and working together to accomplish the good things for the citizens of Onslow County. And in particular, that regional skills center is especially important to economic development, as we definitely need to advertise that and let everybody know what we are doing here to prepare quality skilled students coming out of that skills center that can be hired, and we can get some folks opening buildings and establishments in this Burton Park and bringing more economic development to Onslow County. So great night, celebrate Onslow County. And with that being said, Chairman, you gave out quite a few of the toast, the Old North State tonight, and I'm not sure if everybody here knows what that toast is, so I thought I'd share it. Here's to the land of the longleaf pine, the summer land where the sun doth shine, where the wheat grows strong and the strong grow great. Here's to down home, the Old North State. Folks, Onslow County is a great place to live, work, and raise a family, and we need to keep celebrating what we're doing in Onslow County.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Knapp.
First, I want to say, Mr. Baldwin, I listened intently to what you said, and I appreciate you bringing the information. I think it's very interesting about the seismic blasting. I too have a concern about that. I hate to see our wildlife and our animals be destroyed unnecessarily by constant blasting and blasting for things that may not even be there. So I do understand that, and maybe you and I can talk offline and get some more information, because I am interested in it. The second thing is, we talk about cooperation and we talk about joint ventures with other government entities and stuff. I just want to commend the Sheriff's Office and the Board of Education for working together on the SRO issue, because that is a big issue. We may not have all the answers right now in terms of what we want to do to our facilities and our schools, but the SROs are important, and they're trying to find ways to get grants. They're trying to find ways that it doesn't cost the taxpayers any money to get at least the officers' presence at the school, and I think that's necessary. Is it the answer to what we're getting ready to do or what we're trying to accomplish? I don't know. You know, there's talk about hardening the structure, there's talk about additional personnel, et cetera, et cetera. So it depends on who you ask. But I just want to commend you guys for doing that and working together and trying to find a solution in the midst of our times right now, and trying to put your finger on the issue. And so I appreciate everything that the Sheriff's Office and SR, or the School of Board of Education, is doing. And one last thing, I just want to remind everybody, whether you're Republican or Democrat, voting begins tomorrow. Okay, there's been a lot of talk on social media, there's been a lot of talk in the media. You know, you need to vote who you feel is the right candidate for our North Carolina District 3, okay? You need to get out there and put your vote in. Whether you vote Republican or Democrat, Libertarian, it doesn't really matter, okay? Now, I'm a Republican, I know who I'm going to vote for, but it's up to each and every one of you to get out and vote, and I can't stress this enough, because if you don't vote, but you're vocal, then you have no right to be vocal, okay? Because if you're not going to take any action, voting is your civil right to get out and vote, whether you win or lose. The fact that you took that step to vote is very important. That's what our veterans fight for every day. That's what our government fights for every day. That's what makes America great, because you, the people, have the right to choose who you want to be your next leader, okay? Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. And to me, I don't really care who you vote for. The fact is that you get out and vote. Get out. Early voting starts tomorrow. I don't know when. I think the election's on the 11th of September. Am I correct? Lee, am I correct? 10th. It's the 10th of September, but we have early voting starting tomorrow up until that time. We don't? Wednesday. I'm sorry, Wednesday. I'm all confused. But please get out and exercise your right to vote, because it is important, because who we elect in this next election is going to represent us as a congressman, you know, for our state, for our district. So it kind of snuck up on us, and a lot of people, we had low voter turnout, okay, during the primaries, and we need to reverse that. We need everybody to get out and get out there and vote and solicit for your candidate. So I think I've talked enough about that, and I just want to say thank you for coming out tonight. To the retirees, congratulations. I think that's a great accomplishment to every one of them, and I just hope you guys have a safe trip home. It's getting real dark outside, okay, so be very, very careful.
Commissioner Price.
I'd like to echo some of those sentiments as well. Congratulations to our retirees, and thank you for the service to Onslow County. Also today, our teachers returned back to work. I hope they returned rested with a new zeal and enthusiasm for reaching the youth of today for a brighter tomorrow. And so good luck for them, to them. I was able to attend National Night Out on August 6th. Great event. Seems like it grows every year. So congratulations to our law enforcement officers who put that on and all those involved in that. It was a real good event. I'd also like to thank all the staff of Onslow Senior Services who helped provide care for my mom over the past 3 years. And also thank you for all the cards, calls, texts, messages, and messages of support during the past week and a half. And also thank my wife for taking care of my mom so I could do what I needed to do to attend meetings and do that type of thing. So thank all of you. Have a good evening.
I think we need a monthly library event where Mr. Foster can go and read poetry. Thank you guys for coming out. I appreciate you.
He's an attorney, don't worry about it.
Thank you. Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not going to repeat what every 5 people have already said, but I agree with them. I do want to thank those who volunteer to serve on our boards and advisory committees in Onslow County. And that's a service that is much needed in Onslow County, and I appreciate that. And I hope you all have a safe trip home tonight.
Thank you, sir. I want to comment on the public comment period at the end of the meeting. We have rules of procedures that the second comment period can be anybody that wants to talk for 5 minutes about anything that the Board of Commissioners has control over. Now, the issues that was brought before us, I gave a lot of latitude to and allowed people to speak. But when we got the rules of procedure says that at the second comment period, any group of persons supporting or opposing the same position shall designate a spokesman who shall be allowed to speak. Now, it really should be on items that we have control over. So we don't really have any control over the federal government's role on seismic testing. That's totally a federal regulation. Now, there is resolutions made, like Mr. Baldwin has talked about from different boards, but if it's something that we don't have control over, we don't have to allow anyone to speak at all about it. So I've talked with the board members about that, and they understand that position. So I didn't mean to shut people down. We don't do that. But when you're talking about the same thing and it's something we don't have control over, we shouldn't be talking about it anyway. So if you want to entertain talking to those folks, that'll be fine. Be okay with me. But anyway, I appreciate y'all being here tonight. Have a safe trip home. Have a good evening. We are adjourned.